Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Smith,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Arcano,
Here.
Burbank, absent, Ferguson,
Here.
Bender,
Here.
Green.
Here. Okay. Entertain a motion to excuse Councilmember Burbank.
Motion to excuse Councilmember Burbank.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, council. All right, do we have any agenda modifications this evening that anybody knows of? Deletions, corrections, all that? No?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, tonight we've got some announcements and an appointment, two appointments. The city has received interest in serving on the 4 committee for the EMS levy lid lift. They are Marilyn Whitmore and Nikki Slominski. I hope I got that somewhat right. At this time, the city has not received any interest whatsoever in serving on the against committee for the EMS lid levy lift. So, and I'll ask if there's anybody that would like to do that in a minute. Let's see. I would entertain a motion to appoint Marilyn Whitmore and Nikki Slominski to the 4 committee for the EMS levy lid lift ballot measure.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yep.
So my understanding, and I will stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, is that we have to offer somebody to be, and this is again, to go on the ballot. It's the ballot. Your narrative on the ballot for the EMS levy lid lift. And we have offered that out. It's been on public notice. It's been out, and here we are, and we have 2 people that want to say for, and nobody is against. So we have satisfied our duties. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Oh, Kenny.
So if there's nobody against it, we have to.
Kenny, can you pull your microphone, please?
If there's nobody on the other, for the against the committee, do we have to form it?
The election guidelines in RCW say that the county by default could choose to appoint that position. However, looking at previous ballot measures, there are certainly a fair share of EMS levy lid lifts that do not end up having an against statement. So I don't know of any examples where the county actually exercised that ability, but they could if we were unable to fill it. These statements are due the first week in May, so that would be a pretty quick turnaround time for them to do so.
I learned something too. Anybody else? Okay, we're kind of sort of out of order here a little bit, but the discussion of course is good.
Right.
So, you still have all that in, I guess you have the name. So all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed? Council. Oh, that was you.
That's okay.
Good part. So again, at this time, the city has not received any interest on serving on the against committee thus far. We will make every effort to appoint this committee. So I'm going to ask this evening, is there anybody in the audience that would like to be a spokesperson, so to say, for the against committee for the levy lid lift for the EMS? Okay. And do we have a date, a drop dead date by?
Today, will you ask it twice?
Oh, yeah. So second time, I guess I'm gonna ask again. Anyone, mice in the corner? anybody interested, it's, I don't think anybody will frown upon anybody that'd like to do it. It's always good to have both sides of the argument, so. Anybody, Carolyn? No?
Just gonna say, why?
I'm just picking on you. Any-
I absolutely would support.
Okay, and I don't mean it that way at all.
Good.
Okay. All right. So second go around, let me go through my list here. Hearing none, we will move on with our agenda. Okay. And we're gonna get into public comments. Okay, maybe I'll wait for this till after, but, public comments, everybody will have 3 minutes for public comment and, let's see. See who wants, Megan, would you like to go first? Please.
I am coming here with 3 different hats on today. So first, I left these on your desks. There is upcoming on May 13th, Community Summit. And I hope that you all can attend. It's an awesome opportunity to get to hear our community talk about what they like in the community, what they would like to see happen coming down the road. And the White River Partnership that I have talked to you guys about before, we take the information from that community summit, and that will be what the topics that we work on over the next couple of years. I also have on there a little request. So one of the things that we will have at the summit is tables where community nonprofit organizations can come, provide information and an opportunity for people to volunteer. And one of the things I want to have is a scrolling screen that has quotes from outstanding community members like yourselves about why we volunteer. So just 1 or 2 sentences is all I need, and each slide will be a single quote.
Is that the little strip?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's my email address. If you just email me, really just 1 or 2 sentences is plenty. Next, also attached there are these little things that look like business cards, but they have a QR code on them. So the White River Partnership produces every year for years the Northeast Pierce County resource guide. A few years ago, we got a grant and we were able to move that to being on a digital platform. So it is very easily searchable. People can access it in different languages if they need be. But what we have found is sometimes people struggle to find it. So we decided to do this in a form that people can just put in their wallet. I gave each of you several. I hope that you keep one in your own wallet and pass others out. So if you run into somebody who is struggling and needs a resource, it's really easily accessible. The last thing I want to talk to you guys about real quick, and I want to just preface this by saying that I know that what I heard was just a study session with ideas thrown out. I was out of town when you had the last study session, but I did listen to the full hour and a half. And one of the things that, because I am part of the Foothills Museum, one of the things that was concerning is that didn't seem that it was acknowledged that the Foothills Museum put $50,000 more or less into the renovations of the hall, which then provided us office space and storage space. And our understanding is that we have an MOU with the city to be in that building for 25 years, I believe. Could be wrong, but that's what we found. So that was a concern. I also just wanted to, I don't know how many of you are aware of the history of the City Hall building, but that building was put in place in 1903. So back in 1903, women couldn't sit on the council and they couldn't vote, but their husbands were on the council and the mayor. And when they went to the council and requested that the city build a library and community center, the council voted it down. And 2 weeks later, I don't want to say what happened in the interim, but 2 weeks later, the council came back and there was a unanimous approval to build that building. So it has a long history. It was the library, it was a community center for this community for many years before Pierce County Library came and took that over. And I hate to see a remodel of that building that doesn't acknowledge and reflect the style and the history of the building. So I just want to throw that out there. I know that you've gone to bid on it, but you haven't signed a contract yet. And maybe it would provide more space for the city council to move into Buckley Hall and move offices in there. So that's a potential area that you can go. One more thing, the museum has offered,
If we let, you have to let everybody.
Okay.
know that one.
oh, I'm sorry, 3 minutes. Nope.
Thanks, Megan. Who do you know? How long you met?
Probably about four and a half.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, if anybody wants to go, yeah. Okay, okay, and we have at least signed up, Gary, sorry, I can't.
Shaner?
Yeah,
Yes, that's
yeah, please. And then if you would just give us your name and or just, we don't even need your address, just if you're in the
Okay.
city limits or not.
First of all, I want to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I like that. That was great. It's nice to see some traditions that haven't been lost. But I'm here to voice my concern about the sewer system that's being put in along Spiketon, 700 Spiketon there.
Okay, we're gonna have a public comment coming up for that, if you want to talk specifically to that.
Okay,
Do you have anything other than that?
I want to address that issue.
Okay, perfect. You'll definitely have a chance.
Great, thank you.
Yep, you bet. Anybody else like to speak this evening? And we'll have another, at the end of the meeting, we'll have another opportunity for 3 minutes or 4-ish minutes. Okay, anybody? Please, no, don't be shy. Come on up if you'd like to speak. Okay, we'll have it again at the end. Okay, mayor's report. I do want to go through these quick notes. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for the conversation last week. I know it's not during the study session that Megan mentioned earlier. It's not fun conversation talking about budget cuts and all of that. So I appreciate, like I mentioned last week, everybody's passion, and it's just not a fun topic to get into, but it's our responsibility to look at all the different things. Again, for public, it was just conversation, just starting to look at things that we're gonna have to look at versus cutting the police department or the fire department or whatever. We have a lot of different services to look at. And to get within budget, especially for the next biennium, the staff's done a great job, and council both, of cutting the budget deficit in half. We were roughly 1.2 million, and now we're a little over 600,000 round numbers. And of course, all those numbers are going to move as sales tax comes in and all of that. So anyway, I just wanted to thank everybody for the conversation and remind everybody it was just conversation. There's no decisions have been made, and we want the public's input on everything, of course. So. And with that, I guess we will go on to the LTAC and Councilmember Bergerson.
Thank you, Mayor. So our LTAC Lodging Tax Advisory Committee met for the first time. This is a brand new committee for the city of Buckley, and it's based on the number of population that we now have. So during this meeting, it was our very first meeting for us and first meeting for the city. During this meeting, we reviewed the guidelines and the purpose based on the RCW. And the general purpose of the RCW is to promote tourism for our city. We discussed the current available lodging tax funds, expected 2024 revenue, and the expected expenditure for 2024 as well. An approved City of Buckley application will be required before funds are awarded, and an official application will still need to be created. So we looked at 3 different cities, looking at their application. And so there was discussion on what would be beneficial for our own application to be either added to it or deleted from those that other places have. Pierce County was kind of daunting when you looked at theirs. We want to make it to be as user-friendly as possible, but detailed enough to provide necessary information for the LTAC to review and then bring to city council for approval. Our next meeting will be on May 6th, at which time the committee members will bring back their ideas to complete an application form. So we're hoping shortly after that, that we should have an application. The members discussed application deadlines and timelines for recipient reporting requirements for 2025 and beyond. Deadlines for 2024 won't be as strict so that we can allow some of the funds to be used in 2024. Moving past the 2024 year, applications will need to be submitted before the fall budget cycle to prevent changes in the budget process. So it was a good meeting, and I think that we're going to be able to do good things, and I'm excited for people to put in applications and see if we can use that money to good use. So.
Super, thank you. Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we've actually formed the LTAC committee. There's money's been going in there for years and years and years, so now it's time to disperse some of that.
Right.
So. Okay, next up, we have the Citizens Advisory Committee and Councilmember Anderson.
Before, I don't think this is on.
Oh,
Oh, did you get one that's?
Steele, again. Oh, both of them, maybe Steele.
Okay. Oh. Oh, thank you.
There you go.
I'm loud enough that I feel like one would pick me up, but the Citizens Advisory Commission met on April 15th. There was some technical difficulties and I was on Zoom, so I did have to kind of go over with Erin today what all was discussed, and so I'm very thankful for her. They did relook at the public art mural policy, as well as the park facility enhancement and the park facility naming. And they looked at those in detail. This is like, I believe, the third time they've looked at these. So they have recommended they bring it forward to a resolution to us. So I just admire how much work they take at looking at those in detail before it comes to us. So we should be saying that soon, those three things. They also gave more feedback on the special event permit application. So city staff is taking a look at that. They will probably talk about it again at their next meeting before we ever see it. So the feedback is coming, and I appreciate that on that committee. There are business owners and people who really throw events in Buckley. So them weighing in on kind of like, maybe it should look like this, and maybe an outsider, this would be more, of an explanation for an outsider. So they really are taking all ideas and opinions into consideration before sending it to us. So I appreciate that. And then they began discussions about lit materials in parks ordinance, which was brought forward in a presentation by youth center participants. And so they are just talking about it, and before it ever gets to us, they will continue those conversations. Next meeting in May. Can't tell you the date yet, but it's in my calendar. And I will be there.
And the lit materials that like cigarettes and. fires?
Everything from fireworks, vapes, smoking, just to really keep our parks and kids safe. And it is kind of interesting. We are the only city in Pierce County without this ordinance. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, on to council member comments and go to the order. Brandon.
Pierce County Regional Council.
All right.
So we met on April 18th last week, and we heard from the city executive, or county executive rather, Bruce Dammeier. Some bad news: the number of drug overdoses continues to spike in our county. Also, the legislation that we've seen in the past has led to a lot of people leaving the law enforcement profession. The good news, though, is that as far as recruitment goes, things are trending upwards. So they're seeing a lot of recruits come in, both for the corrections and the sheriff, the patrol division. He hit a lot on housing and comprehensive plans. So housing costs are continuing to go up a lot. The median wage is not keeping up with housing costs. So there's a disparity there. He's concerned with the comp plan process. He notes that the PSRC, Puget Sound Regional Council, not to be confused with PCRC.
Yeah.
He notes that the PSRC policies, even though they're meant to reduce the cost of housing, they're likely going to drive up the cost of housing. His advice is that as you're going through your comprehensive planning process, to look at the policies, but ultimately make sure you're doing what's right for your community. He's advising the county against reductions in density, and that goes for cities also and population. He says we should not be restricting people's options where they want to live and where they want to have their kids go to school, etc. We also heard from Chief Patty Jackson, who was filling in for Sheriff Troyer. So last time when Sheriff Troyer talked to us, he went over all the vacancies and the corrections and then the patrol division. That was mid 2023 last year. So last year, this time there were 74 vacancies. Since then, they've added 45 new recruits. They are looking at being fully staffed likely by the end of the year. So that's great news. There's still issues with the population at corrections facilities. A lot of people are there. They're pretty full. And there's a lot of violent offenders in the facilities where it shouldn't be housing violent offenders. So still some work to be done, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other council member comment? Good of the order stuff? Okay, one thing I forgot, it's my understanding the logs have been secured to update the steam donkey. So there's a lot of moving pieces to it, but they finally found some trees that'll work and that's in process. So they're gonna try and get those moved sometime in May. Not sure exactly where they're going yet, but I think the log show committee has volunteered the time and manpower to reskin the donkey, so to speak. So Connie.
This is really more of a question. Why is the parking lot not open?
A couple of reasons. We're waiting on final connections for PSC, and then we also need to finish installing the landscaping, which will be
Okay.
done in part this weekend as part of the Youth Day of Service. We'd hoped to do it for tomorrow, but some of the plants are back ordered. So we just wanted to not have to close it once it's opened, and it needs to be landscaped.
Can I
still.
make one suggestion so we don't get a bunch of overnight parking? Could we put signage saying no overnight parking, violators will be towed? Otherwise, we're gonna have people parking out there, sleeping out there and. Okay, thank you.
Ron.
I support Councilmember Bender's wish. The only thing I don't know, because it's not in front of me, is there a current Buckley Municipal Code ordinance that would support that? If not, it needs to be drafted and brought for approval.
Council approval. Yep.
So we have the ability to post signs. I will say that right now, our city attorney is waiting for a Supreme Court decision to come down regarding camping in parks before we bring forward that ordinance. It has been on our work plan since the end of last year. And we will bring forward something this year, but as cities have tried to tackle this problem, they've gotten shot down in the court system. And so there's a couple of different pending court cases right now that we're waiting to see the outcome on before we put an ordinance forward that may immediately be impacted by those decisions.
Oh, city administrator, are you referring to the current United States Supreme Court case that's
Yeah.
being taken up on this
Yeah.
issue? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
But we can put up a sign that we
Sure.
may or may not be able to enforce.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
super. Anybody else? Any other council member comments? Okay. All right, on to the consent agenda.
On tonight's consent agenda is the approval of the minutes of the February 6th, 2024 City Council study session and claims and payroll.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries. Next
Okay.
item is the sewer latecomers agreement for Luke's Landing Sewer Utility Extension Public Hearing.
And so I need to recess so So it's 6:25. I'm gonna suspend the Buckley City Council meeting and we're gonna enter into a public hearing at 6:25. And
We do have city engineer Dom on Zoom
Okay.
if anybody has questions about this or anything.
okay, perfect. Okay. Let's see. You don't have a presentation or anything? Okay. And so should we hear? Yeah, please come forward.
And it's the same time, so I'll start.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I'm here just to kind of voice my concern on the sewer system. I understand.
Please state your name for the
Oh,
record.
well, Gary Shaner, I reside at 700 Spiked. Few weeks ago, I received some paperwork from UPS, signed for it and everything like that. And my understanding from this paperwork and the latecomers agreement, which I would like some definition on the terminology of latecomer. But the way they have it structured right now is the homes that are built, that they're building over there next to me, which I didn't know that they were going to be building these homes when I bought that place 1.5 years ago. So they're putting the sewer system and all that. And currently, right now, I am on the sewer system for the city of Buckley. I pay the bill every month, but the way they have it structured is to divide the amount of 496,000 or whatever it is among the new homes. And then I was included in on this. But I'm here to just voice my opinion that I don't believe that I should have to pay the 3,000 whatever to be hooked up to the sewer system, because I'm currently on the sewer system right now.
Okay.
But so
Okay. All
just
right.
here to voice my opinion that I don't believe that I should have to dummy up 3,000 something for the contractor.
Okay, maybe Chris or Dom, do you want to, this is if he would want to hook up another connection, or is this?
He has an existing connection. You will not be required to pay.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, only if you wanted to build a home, that's what that fee would be, if you wanted to build another home.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. Do we have anybody else like to speak on the latecomers agreement for Spiketon-ish area? Luke's Landing, sorry. And nothing from you or Dom, we don't, okay, we just need to open it up, which is perfect, okay. All right, if we don't have anybody else to speak.
No.
No. Okay, it is 6:28. We will reconvene the Buckley City Council meeting and get into new business.
The next item on the agenda is an engineering services proposal for sidewalk and ADA transition plan.
Move to approve the engineering service proposal for sidewalk ADA transit plan.
Second.
And you want to speak on this, Chris? This is a long-standing project we're kind of getting into to go for grant funding.
Yeah, just here to mainly answer any questions that anyone might have. I think the memo pretty well explains what it is. So.
Denise.
So is this going to mark out where the sidewalk is not leveled?
Yep.
So that those can be.
That's
fixed
part
as
of
well?
this, or missing links,
Okay.
degraded ADA ramps, where we're missing ADA ramps, it'll include all that stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Connie.
Will this also include areas, little arterials that have no sidewalks?
It'll identify those as well. Mhm.
Comprehensive plan. sidewalk plan.
Comprehensive.
Okay, any other questions for Chris or? Okay. All right, thanks, Chris. All right. We'll have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
Staff reports. Administrator Brunel.
Just a couple of things this evening, Mayor. I just wanted to give an update. The last couple of days, I've had the privilege of sitting in on our firefighter interviews. We have a great group of applicants and really looking forward to seeing that move forward in the process. We'll provide all of the council with an update once we've made those final selections. So that is going well. For our next study session, we will have a comp plan update and a revisit of the transportation impact fee discussion from a couple of months ago, and whether or not we wanted to look at changing the reduction for some of the businesses along 410, the commercial properties. To refresh your memory, we are also going to work to simplify the discussion that we had that led to the homework assignment. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that or provide it back to me, no worries. We will be bringing that back forward to just have a discussion with the entire council. And then last, I just wanted to provide an update that Director Snodgrass continues to work through the grant applications through RCO. And this week she made the decision to add a third application for RCO local parks, which if awarded would significantly decrease the city's obligation for those matching funds. So I just wanted to update you all on that. That is also due May 1st. We are on track to do all of them. They are majority complete. So thanks to her, and hopefully we hear back in a couple of months with good news.
Is that for Miller Park
It is.
specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, super. Okay, thank you. Chief Scogan.
Just wanted to thank, City Administrator Brunel and Chief Alfano for assisting our department with the interviews, as you just heard. So we look forward to the rest of the process and hopefully have 2 new positions on board right around July 1st, possibly sooner. So with that, it was just a recap of first quarter fire department activity as far as call volume and just some of the extra assignments that our personnel have taken on. I know for those of you that have been on council for a little bit, some of the graphics and the charts look different. As you remember, back in December, we switched to a new reporting system, and average response time is very important to me, as it is each of you. You'll see that's not included because we have not found out a way to separate calls outside the city. So 1/3 of our fire and EMS calls are in someone else's jurisdiction, or they're in Greenwater or East Pierce or Enumclaw. That is not a fair average response time. So we've sent a support request in to the software company to have them build reports for us that identifies what our average response time is for each proper jurisdiction, not encompassing everything. So hopefully by next quarter's report, you will see that.
Just a comment, while the chief's up here, I don't know if any of my colleagues have the Pulse Point app on their phone, but you can pull up and see what's going on. You can subscribe to East Pierce, Buckley Fire, whatnot. They have been to Crystal Mountain quite a bit recently, to Bonnie Lake, to some place in Key Peninsula that I don't even, I may be wrong, but he's exactly right. So I would encourage each of you to download the Pulse Point app, subscribe to Buckley Fire and East Pierce as well, because they come here. And then when you're bored, you can see what our people are doing. And you will see that what is being reported is accurate to the core, because they are busy.
Yep, and contrary to popular belief, Crystal Mountain isn't just open for business in the winter for skiing, so when the mountain bikers go tumbling down the mountain, away they go. So. Super, thanks, chief.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Alfano.
The report in there is pretty similar to last year. I tried to break up the 23-24 first quarter stats so you guys can compare. We were down officers this year, but we had more citations, infractions issued, so the guys were making, the traffic stops were down. Even though we're down a couple bodies, we still were making, roughly the same amount of traffic stops in that first 3 months of the year. So pretty similar. And then I'll give you guys kind of an update on our hiring process. As you know, one of our officers had left in March. We're about 98% done with the background on a candidate from the city of Auburn. And likely we're waiting for one report, and then we'll extend him a final offer on the mayor's approval, and we'll bring him on board. And then we do anticipate losing another officer come June 1. So we are actively already, we're conducting a entry-level test for new police officers, trying to get a little bit younger in our department. We got a lot of guys that are going to be eligible to retire within the next year. And so we anticipate having a little turnover. I'd like to see maybe a little bit younger blood up in there to get some good training in. So that's where we stand with that. And we just finished our second annual Citizens Academy. It was an awesome class. And it's great connecting with the community on that level, and just seeing the response I get from all the people that are involved is just awesome. They get to really know our department in a way that no one else does. And they take some ownership, and they really enjoy learning about what we do and the difficulties and the challenges we face daily. So it was really cool to see. That's all I got.
Okay. Any questions? Anything for? I know, I'll say I participated in the last academy, and this one I've dropped in a couple times, and I can't remember, was it Pierce County, you all brought their drone out?
Yeah, Ording brought a drone out.
Yep.
They brought their drone out. Puyallup brought their canine dogs, and so we just had great support from everything that we are actively involved with as a department, with all the other agencies, and it's just really cool to see, and the camaraderie between my officers and everybody else involved. And it's just, they take ownership, and it's really cool.
So there's everybody's paying attention. There's nobody half asleep. That's
Right. Yeah. And they get to do a lot of training, just the training that we sent them through, like the Let's training. Even Courtney got to go through, and that's the shooter don't shoot scenarios. They were like, what just happened? And those scenarios that they go through are based on real life scenarios that actually happened. May not have happened here. So, I mean, it's an eye opener. So it was really cool. All right. Thank you.
all right. Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah.
Okay, and we will open it back up for public comment. Anybody who'd like to speak for up to 4-ish minutes? And please feel free. If not, we will adjourn the meeting. Anybody? Okay. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks, council. Oh, did Megan leave?
Yes.
Gonna think, oh yeah, she's.